This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. I'm Shane.
And I'm JP.
How's your week and a half been? Or 2 weeks?
Gosh, yeah. Wait, 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks, yeah.
It's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Busy, but good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of sporting events to try to get people to and from. That's always a challenge.
'Tis the season.
And
why can't our children be on the same team? Wouldn't that make it easier? Because I could just take your kid. You can take my kid.
different ages, different genders. Yeah.
Well, I won't be that guy. I was going to wonder why you're assuming. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Mine was the same, just craziness. And then we went to reschedule, and then I was like, oh, yeah, well, I have this. And then we'll reschedule the next day. And then something happened where you couldn't do something.
Yeah. I was home alone with kids. Dempsey had a soccer game like far away, so I couldn't leave anybody home alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the younger ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the next 2 nights I was down in Green Bay, and then we were open Friday. I was open Friday finally, and then we were like, well, then we're gonna record Friday. Then let's just record Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make sense to do both.
Yeah. So sorry about the miss, but we're busy dads. And speaking of, Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, and for Happy Father's Days, for those of you out there, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
All right. Door_disc_golf, night_owl_pod. Those are our Instagram handles. And then we got doordisc.com where you can buy all your disc golf needs. So doordisc.com. All right. So here's some shop updates.
Okay.
We have a small MVP restock that just came in with bags, Fission Trail, Eagle Dimensions, and the Trances release. The Trance release for June 20th. We have them in. So the stock run Trances.
What's the Trance?
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I've thrown one before.
Isn't that the Eagle signature one or one of the Eagle line ones that just came out?
Oh, yes.
So
yes. That is true. It is. Yep.
And then we do have restock in. So that is in and up on the site. A small Discraft order came in with some buzzsaws, and then will be coming in. And we also have some custom jerseys coming in. Another. And then I don't know if you noticed or not, but our old jerseys were spotted on broadcast. Somebody was wearing it behind Silva. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
I saw it on Instagram. Yeah, it was one of the pink,
pink Parliament jerseys.
Yeah, pink Parliament jerseys.
Yeah, those were 2002 maybe or 2003. Yeah, they were 2002, I think.
2022. Yeah, 23.
2022. There you go. I missed the 2 in there.
Yeah, right.
And then also we will have a circuit challenge going on in Green Bay on July 6th. So if you want some MVP discs, go ahead and get them. But if you jump on doordisc.com and then also check out the Instagram and then go on Disc Golf Scene and look up Door Disc Golf. And then we have a bunch of flexes and C tiers and coming up still. So if you're local to the area of Wisconsin, you can do it. And I think outside of that, I think that's it.
Well, Door Disc will be at
U.S. Women's. That's what I meant to.
Disc Golf Championship in Manitowoc.
Yeah. So we will start setting up Thursday, or we will be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We are, I believe, the only disc golf retailers there.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh. So there are some other manufacturers that are there.
Yeah.
But we're the only retail store there.
Okay.
So, and we are, if I remember rightly, I think we are exclusively dealing the U.S. Women's discs there. We're the ones that are going to be vending them.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
So that was said. I don't know if it's 100%.
Okay.
But most likely we will have those sitting there at our booths. Yeah. So it's pretty good. We will have the, as long as the weather holds up well enough, we will have the sim there. We'll have the simulator with Tech Disc and with the, why am I blanking on the name of the other one?
I know what you're talking about.
The other simulator portion of it.
Right.
Link disc golf. There you go.
Yep. Oh boy.
So we'll have that in there as well. And then, and then Matt will be there with his sunshiny face. Didn't we say shiny face? Okay.
Yeah.
Shiny face Matt.
I'm gonna. Scheduling's not too good. I have Thursday open. Mm-hmm. I want to get down there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
I know.
Because I planned to buy. I was like early on going to buy tickets. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. And then I'm like, well, okay, Thursday, something's probably going to come up. Mm-hmm. Friday, you never know.
Yep.
Saturday, Sunday, more than likely something's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I know for sure I have to work Saturday. Sunday, we'll probably have to be somewhere. So, I mean, I really do want to get there. I just don't know if I'll be able to.
Yeah. It's going to be, I will hopefully be able to be down there Friday is
Nice.
what I'm hoping. But who knows? We just had one of our maintenance guys ended up giving his notice because his mom went into a nursing home and he has a lot of stuff to do pretty soon.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so some of the things, they pile up. It just happens.
Right,
We'll find someone else and it'll be good. But yeah, I'm hoping to get down there. I mean, it's so close. It's as close as it's ever going to be to us.
It is, right. Because, I mean, it was in Madison 2 or 3 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago, but that's about 4 hours away from us.
Right. And the DGPT had the Silver Series event in 2020. That was at Silver Creek as well. Mm-hmm. And then other than that, nothing's come close to us in quite a few years.
Yeah, quite a few years. Now, it comes close to us, but we also have a giant lake between us when it comes close-ish to us.
Well, I mean, there's also the preserve, and then, you got Deglow. And, so, I mean,
Madison was the closest, but so Manitowoc is about 2 hours away from us.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Right.
So it's not too bad. I mean, I drive farther to just play in tournaments. So,
right.
But it's out. What are they doing? Rolling Ridge? Are they including Rolling Ridge at all in the U.S. Women's, or is it just silver?
Yes, I believe okay, so I'm not sure about FPO, but I know some of the lower tier will be playing Cato Falls, and I believe Rolling Ridge.
Yep. And I know there is a backup for Shorewood UWGB.
Really?
For rain. Just a backup.
Oh, wow.
Like, as in, if Rolling Ridge gets too soggy, because it has a tendency to get super soggy.
Yes, it does.
I know there have been conversations about it as just a backup course.
Dang.
So I've heard it through the Weems.
Yeah. Cool.
Might have said something I wasn't supposed to.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, could you imagine going into it and being like, okay, I got these courses to practice, these 2 courses, and then all of a sudden they're like, sorry, we're not playing. Well, because it actually happened during Silver Cup in 2020. Rolling Ridge did get rained out, and they couldn't play it, so they ended up playing Silver Creek all for 3 rounds.
Yes, yeah.
So,
and I believe that's what they're gonna try to shoot for. It just depends on field size. Mm-hmm. So I believe that's what they're gonna try to shoot for. But either way, we have some good courses that are gonna be played here. So, I just wish we would see a DGPT or something. I mean, Jim Van Lennon is a fantastic a tournament director. And now I know he's not the tournament director, it's Matthew, but even still, it's just he does such a good job here, and I'm sure he's working hand in hand with Matthew here. So
okay, so here's the schedule for Pool A, which is FPO and FP40. Mm-hmm. They will be playing Rolling Ridge on Thursday and Friday. Then they will be at Silver Creek playing the Super Silver Saturday and Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then it looks like Pool C, which is the majority of the age-protected groups, are playing Silver Creek, Lakeside, Thursday, Friday. And then they're playing Cato Falls on Saturday, Sunday. Okay. And then Pool B.
And Lakeside is the shorter original 18.
Yeah. And then Pool B is FP50, FP55, 60, FA1, FA40, FA2. And then they will be playing Silver Creek, Lakeside. Mm-hmm. And then Rolling Ridge Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's great.
That's the schedule. And then there's lots of other events. I think there's like Cosmic Bowling going on. There's a dye clinic going on. There's a lot of other just fun events
Yeah,
happening
yeah.
throughout the week.
They have a little fly mart set up all week. They have, so they're doing some nice stuff. So if you're in the area or you want to make the drive, I would suggest to do so. So that'll happen starting this coming. So what is that? June 18, 19, 20?
So courses are officially open today for practice.
Yep.
And then courses are reserved for practice starting the 17th. So nobody else will be able to be on there. And then there's doubles at US Super Layout Amateur Doubles at Lakes. Okay, so there's a doubles event 9 a.m. on Tuesday, and then amateur doubles at Lakeside DGC also that day. And then there's a player Q&A at Petskull Brewing Company. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, practice for like the whole week. Reserved practice Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay. Perfect. And then Thursday starts the competition.
Yep.
There you go. All right. So I do have a question for you today.
Okay.
Does one's appearance influence success? Does a person's appearance influence their success?
Influence success.
Yes.
Interesting.
Do you think that a person's looks influences how successful they are in life?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I do hear, you always hear that phrase, dress for success. People always think of going into work and, whether it's a desk job or whatever, and looking like they're well put together. And I think that's, you're exuding that you are successful maybe by dressing, but I don't think it tells the whole picture, because you could look good, but behind the scenes being a total mess at what you're doing.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Or you see some of these so-called millionaires, billionaires behind companies, and sometimes they're street casual, whatever. I think it's not so much about how you dress, but your mind state and the way you conduct yourself more than just appearances. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you think your OnlyFans would be as successful as it is if it wasn't for how you looked?
Oh, man. Yeah. Probably. I mean, I haven't been keeping up with the feet.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, I've got ingrown toenail right now. So.
Some people like that.
Yeah.
It's a little pussy.
Gross. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're saying no? Sorry, right in the middle of a drink.
Yeah. Sorry. No. I think it doesn't tell the whole story.
Agreed.
Is what I think.
Agreed. Okay. So I would say it does.
Okay.
Because I believe that you do have certain advantages based off of looks, because I think you would have an easier time getting the chance if you look better.
Okay. Sure.
Right? So like very discriminatory thought, line here.
Yeah.
Someone walks in off the street. So what was that movie called with Will Smith? Do you remember that, where he was like a hobo?
Yeah.
Like right on the borderline.
Shoot, I can't.
It's like Dreams or like.
No, I'll look it up real quick. I know exactly what movie you're thinking of.
Yeah, but he was like all disheveled and just torn apart and all that stuff. So he kept walking into places and he'd get booted out almost immediately.
The Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness, yep. He'd get booted out almost immediately.
Sure.
Now, in that movie, it was a little bit of both. There was racial discrimination, but also, what would they call it? Superficial discrimination, like appearance, right?
Yeah.
You put that same movie and timeline and selling medical things and all that stuff, put a hot dude in there, like a bro dude. I think he's going to get a more fair shake, right?
Sure.
Even if the racial discrimination was still there, I think he would get a better check. So I say that it is a way to get your foot in the door.
Okay, that's fair. But I think once you have your foot in the door, does that mean you're going to keep up with your appearances all the time?
No, absolutely not.
Well, right.
From that point, it's I think.
Because, I mean, like anytime you go for a job interview, you're always trying to look your best because you want to present yourself a certain way, even if the job isn't, that attire or what you're doing. You just want to make yourself look the best because I think people want to view you that way. Whether or not you succeed at that job once you have your best looking self there is a completely different story.
Right. No, I agree. 100%. So we live in a society, in my humble opinion, that the only thing you put out is your best, right? So you think about all your social media, all your this, all your that. And we're so afraid of being vulnerable and honest with who we actually are. Like I have really bad gas right now because I drank a lot of soda. And JP can attest to it right now. If I put that, if I were a guy to put that out on the internet, because, I'm not doing that right now. But if we were to put that on the internet, I think that would influence the number of, or the way that people think of me, because it's not attractive to know that a guy farts and burps.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So I bet there's people listening right now, potentially, that would be like, ew. Right?
Sure.
I knew a grown man, like 60-year-old man, you would fart in front of him and he'd get so embarrassed. Or if he would fart, it was the funniest thing in the world. Like if he'd be lifting something and he'd fart. Crazy. It was funny. It was my father-in-law. So you think about like that. I think that all goes along with being pretty, being, having a good appearance, having, being attractive in a sense. So I agree with you. I don't know if it dictates success, but I think it can influence or open those doors for success.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It opens the door. Yeah.
So that's the way I see it. What about a good-looking disc?
What about a good-looking disc?
Does that influence the success of your disc golf round?
Oh, no, absolutely not. But
you don't think so?
No.
Oh, I think if you have a disc that you really love and it looks good in your hand and you're confident with it, you're going to do better. You're always like, oh, I love this disc.
Well, yeah, okay, but do you love it because it flies the way you want it to and it feels good in your hand, or do you love it because it's just pretty?
I was hoping I had my pooping unicorn up there. I think it can be both.
Okay. I've never thought about having a pretty disc in my hand and be like, oh, you fly good because you're pretty.
But have you ever chosen a disc because it's pretty?
Well, yeah,
and then it gets the job done, right?
I've definitely chosen discs because they have cool stamps, for sure, for sure. Sometimes those discs make the bag, sometimes they don't.
Oh, I have.
And then there's times where they make the bag, and all of a sudden you're like, "Stupid disc! Why did I ever pick you?" Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is that a good-looking disc can influence success,
but it's the archer, not the arrow.
Okay.
Right. That's at least what we're always told. It's the archer. It's not the arrow.
Yeah. Unless it's golf, regular golf.
Okay.
And then the arrow definitely has a lot to do with it.
You know what's weird about here's the thing about golf.
It is weird.
No, because like in disc golf, right? We only throw a disc. In golf, you have a ball and you have the clubs.
Yeah.
So what do you call that? Is that is that a bow and an arrow then? Is the club a bow and then is the ball the arrow?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the club swinger is the archer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So in that sport, if it's not so much the archer, it could be the bow and the arrow.
Or just the equipment.
Yeah.
I think we're going down that rabbit hole a little too far.
I know. Right.
All right. So today we'll talk a little preserve. We've already talked about a lot. We're going to talk DGPT Creators Challenge.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk what JP has written down.
Oh.
Stuff.
Oh, the Allie Smith thing I want to talk about.
Oh, there you go. All right.
And I just have I just have a fun kind of, it was interesting, something that I saw.
Okay, perfect. So we just want to let's talk with the DGPT's Creators Challenge first.
Okay.
Because that's kind of nonchalant. By the way, that's a new fun word that people are using. I don't know if you noticed. Yeah, nonchalant.
Okay.
Like dude's nonchalant.
Yeah.
You know, like the Riz. He's nonchalant.
Oh, the Riz sounds like a wrestling character. Oh, that's the Riz. Because
Listen, brother.
Hello, ladies. There used to be a wrestler called Val. They call him the big Valboski. There's this guy that would like come out with like a towel on, and he'd like shimmy and do all this stuff. And I forgot what his name, but he'd always be like, "Hello, ladies," and he'd be like on the mic talking. He's like, "When the big Valboski," like.
Well,
and then he like gets into like innuendo and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so how about if you can name Steve Austin's very first ring name? I'll give you a high five. I'm not going to say it out loud. And this is fun for the kids at home, too.
I don't remember it, but he was part of the tag team, the Hollywood Blondes. Yep. I forgot what his ring name was. It was something Steve...
Well, it's Stunning Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, okay.
But there was a name before that.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Yep. So if you know that, hit us up.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it. I'll say it next week.
Okay.
I'll say it next week. All right.
Anyway.
We're going to talk about Creators Challenge. So DGPT, and I'm going to say right away, I'm a huge fan. Like, I found out about this. I was like, this sounds like a great idea.
Until you're like, hey, we're not invited.
Yeah, that too. But
right.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because we're not cooling on YouTube or anything.
Yeah, no, we don't do that. We still do it old school.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I don't need recognition to know that we're loved, to know that my appearance will not influence my success.
Anyway.
All right. So Creators Challenge. So it's going to be played at Picker Park on June 26th. This would be 6 p.m. live stream on DGPT.
Right before the DMC.
Right before DMC. So it is an alternate shot doubles event. It'll start out with am throwing first, pro throwing second hole, and alternate. It's only 12 holes.
12 holes, really?
Only 12 holes. But hole 5 will be an ace run.
Oh.
You'll have 3 chances off the tee to hit an ace.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Hole 6 will be a spin to throw. So spin the wheel. You got to throw whatever the wheel says.
Okay.
And then the hole 16 is a fan sub. So the creator, so the AM, will be able to go into the crowd, pick one random fan to play for them on 16.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So those are the neat things that are happening. But other than that, it will be just standard alternate shot doubles. So are you curious who the card pairings are?
I know who a couple of them are because I've heard them.
Okay.
Creators I know are like, it's Jay Millie, Broderick, the Foundation guys, Robbie C. Is Bo Danza one of them?
Bo Danza is one of them, yep.
You're
know. Pretty darn close. You're missing 2 of them.
2 of them?
Yep. And I've never heard of this guy, but I think this is the guy that does the James Makes Music.
Okay.
I think he's the one that does all the parody music for disc golf.
Oh.
Red-haired guy, I think.
Okay.
And then Jay Millie, Bodanza, the Party Podcast.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's going to be Christine and Hannah and Kona. Right?
You sound so happy about it.
Okay. No. Well,
it's okay. Go ahead. This is a no judgment zone. You can say what you want to say.
I don't have judgment, but I don't know. It's okay. I mean, cool for them, right? I'm just like, Christine works for the DGPT. I was like, is that their in?
Well, and the Party podcast was a DGPT podcast. That's how it started.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's how it started.
I didn't know that.
And they're if you go on the DGPT under podcast, they're one of the podcasts that DGPT
didn't
pushes.
know that.
So yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I mean they're keeping everything close, and then essentially what 1, 2, 3, 4 of the guys are foundation guys. So. There's some close ties there, which is, it's fine. I mean, these are good people. I've never heard of the James Make Music. Bodanza I've heard of. Jay Milley I know is an up-and-comer. He's coming up pretty quickly, and he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, I mean, I watched... Okay, so Robbie did an interview with him last week and a half ago for Disc Golf Answer Man, and I listened to it, and then I went and watched... like 1 or 2 of his videos. I was like, okay.
Yeah. He's very much mainstream YouTuber style. Like weird camera angles, lots of cuts.
Yeah.
That's talking straight to the camera, like mini microphone if there was a microphone. Like
he's one of those guys that holds the mini microphone up. Yeah.
And then Hunter, Robbie C. And I don't know who Broderick is.
He's just another guy that kind of does he does some disc reviews, like challenge things.
Okay.
I know he's got a disc, like I think he has a signature disc with Prodigy for some reason.
Okay.
That comes to mind. But I haven't watched too much of his stuff.
Okay.
I've seen him here and there.
Okay. All right. So card 1 is going to be Simon Lizotte and James Makes Music is one team. Next pairing is Alden Harris and Bodanza. And next pairing is Gannon Burr and Jay Milley.
Okay.
And then Kona and the Party Podcast. And then we have card 2. You will never guess who Brody Smith's partner is.
Hunter.
Okay, you guessed it, I guess.
Only because I've heard him talk about it.
Yeah. Ezra Aderhold with Robbie C. Silas Schultz with Broderick. And then Paul Ulibarri with Trevor Staub. Out of all these, who do you think is the winner? Winner's chicken dinners.
I think it's going to be Gannon and Jay Milley.
Yeah, I think them or Brody and Hunter. Hunter's a solid disc golfer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's what, a 960, 970, I would say.
Who did you say was with Robbie C?
Robbie is Ezra.
Okay, I see that pair could be pretty decent.
Yeah. I think Brody and Ezra, though. I mean, Brody and Hunter. No, I don't know. Brody hasn't been playing a lot, though.
Right.
I mean, he's been posting that he's practicing, but we haven't seen him play, really. So
he's also been on cruises.
He has been?
Yeah, I think he just posted, like, some pics of him and his wife on a cruise the other day and stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, he's been filming some content here and there and kind of getting back into things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he can still throw far.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's like, well, I lost some of my distance. He was throwing like 475. Like, seriously, dude?
Yeah.
Like,
tough.
Yeah. So I think it'll be an entertaining one. I mean, I think keeping it behind a paywall of DGPT, I don't think it's going to get as much exposure as it could. I think pushing it out on YouTube would be a lot more exposure.
Oh, absolutely.
And then allowing the creators to post their own videos.
Yep, on their channels.
It just doesn't seem like it's going that way. DGPT is trying to be super protective over the content. So we'll see. Maybe later on down the line, they'll allow them to release it. But, like the Foundation Boys do a light years better job than DGPT with creating content.
Yeah.
Robbie C does. I mean, Jay Milley does. Like, there's, aside from maybe the Party Podcast, because they're just a podcast. I mean, but Hannah does some great stuff with her channel and Paul's channel. I mean, she's the one that does all this stuff. Like, let them do their thing. Like, give them a platform.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's why
paywalls.
You have them is to create content.
Yep.
and tell stories and just let them.
But I think the DGPT is thinking it's the other way around. That they are going to bring, the creators are going to bring attention to DGPT rather than the other way around.
Right.
I just don't know if it will.
They could if you let them do their thing.
Exactly.
You know, like, it's because it's one of those weird things. So obviously, because there's strict guidelines on practice rounds and recording during practice. Is this considered? What is this considered? Is this considered
It's an event?
Okay, so
It's a straight up DGPT event. So
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just straight up a DGPT event. I mean, broadcast, sanctioned, well, not sanctioned, but it's a DGPT event, like bonus event. So, yeah, good for them. So I'm excited to see it. I mean, I'll still watch it, like, because I did purchase the DGPT, and I didn't realize I did. It was one of those automatic renewal thingies, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I still have it.
Yeah.
Or it's for the shop, or I don't remember what it was, but I'm
Probably
still
for the
using it.
shop.
Yeah, most likely. So I'll watch it though. But like I said, DGPT wants exposure. They should allow these creators to give them exposure instead of trying to flip the script and the other way around. It's just not going to happen. You put it behind a paywall, you're going to lose subscribers. I mean, lose eyes that way.
Yeah.
So, all right. Preserve.
Preserve.
All right, Preserve. And then we'll talk about your drama there a little bit.
Yeah.
So the Preserve happened in Minnesota as scheduled.
Yeah.
And
as scheduled.
And we have winners. I did not watch not a throw of it.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I watched some of the recaps, but I wasn't able to watch any of the live stuff. I've had an eventful couple days. So that was that. So we had to put our dog down here, Cody.
Oh, no.
Yeah, 16 years old. So it was rough. So that was my Saturday. And I'll tell you what, grown man crying in front of this young lady that's taking him in.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was hard. It was hard. But so that's why I didn't watch any. So
yeah,
I was planning on it. And then Thursday night, I was up with him like at 3 a.m. He was walking around like whimpering and like breathing super heavy. And then the next night he did similar thing, slept through the whole day, similar thing. So we called Friday and then Friday. So it was Wednesday and then Thursday night. So we called Friday and they said, we don't usually do them on Saturdays, but in this case, it sounds like we can make an exception.
Man.
So I drove him down Saturday and noon, and that was like rough. So rough. Get it?
Yeah.
So with that being said, yesterday that happened. We'll get into a happier topic. The Preserve. I still need to get out there and go to that course. I need to get out there and play the courses.
Yeah.
Before they're gone.
Before they're gone.
I just have this feeling they're not going to last.
Oh, that's an interesting feeling.
Well, so who owns it now?
Yeah, because obviously Kill sold it off. I don't know who he sold it to.
I don't either.
But it was, I watched, so Jomas had the practice round and Kale was on it. And Ezra Ederhold. And so he's like, it's still kind of my course. I like designed it and everything. Simon came in and made some tweaks to it and everything. And so he's kind of walking the course and everything. But yeah, it's interesting. They still have the little, it's a tiny like pro shop on the course because they don't have the pub and everything anymore. It's just the course and it's like a trailer. You just like walk into the trailer and that it's there. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm very, I don't know how, like if people are getting out there for league, if they have league, or it'd be interesting to talk to somebody from Minnesota about, or close, like somebody living in Clearwater about what they know of the situation of the Preserve and how it's being utilized other than for a DGPT, event one time out of the year. Yeah.
And that's the curious thing to me. So does he still own the courses and then just sold off the clubhouse and that acreage on the front side? Or or did he ever actually own it like 100%, or was it him and partners, or like how does it's just the curiosity gets me.
Right.
I'm curious of how and what and all these things. The other thing that gets me is what happened to the airborne line?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because he owns them. I know he owns them. I talked to him specifically. He owns the molds. I mean, those are his molds. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't started running with Discraft yet.
Yeah, that's interesting. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a more consistent plastic with those because there's some great discs. There's some are great discs, but
Yeah.
I didn't really have issues with any of them, but they just like a couple of them were just way too beefy for me to use.
Sure.
But they're great discs. So, yeah. So anyways, we'll get back to the preserve. So we have winners. So Gannon-Burr goes back to back.
Well, back DGPT.
Yeah, DGPTs.
Wins. Yeah.
And then Silva Saarinen.
First DGPT win.
First elite win, right?
On U.S. soil.
Yes.
Because technically last week when she won the LA Open, that was a DGPT Europe win, which was an elite event. So she did get that over Kristen.
Yeah, yep.
And over Kristen again this time.
Yep.
But it's funny because during the middle of the week, they had the match play, and Silver had to go head-to-head against Kristen, and Kristen ended up winning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a good rivalry there. Is Silva playing up, or is Kristen playing down? Or are they both just being that competitive?
I think they're just both being that competitive with each other. I think there's a push. Like they're both acknowledging that one kind of there's an ebb and a flow a little bit between the two of them where, sometimes one person has a good day, one person may not, but they're still there with each other, pushing each other. Now, this weekend, Silva started out well. Kristen did not start out well. And on Instagram or Facebook, I forgot where I saw it, she ended up saying she has a toe injury. Okay. She ended up smashing a toe, and it turned like purple. So it's possibly broken. But she was there, like, started round 3. Kristen was 2 shots back of Silva. Cadence Burge was right there. She had the lead after round 1. And then Silva took over after round 2. Like, she had a hot round 2. Let me just bring up the old score sheet real quick. And then today, actually, let's full FPO. Yeah, so after round 1, Missy and Cadence were tied at 6 down, and then Silva was 3 shots back along with Hannah Wynn. Round 2, Silva shot a 8 down, Cadence shot a 5 down. Kristen had the hot round of 9 down, and then Missy shot a 1 to stay on lead card. And then the final round, Kristen shot an 8 down, Cadence fell off a little bit, and then Silva shot a 9 down to hold off Kristen by 2. And then Valerie Mandajano shot the course record 12 down.
Jeez.
Scorching hot. Yeah. She had 12 birdies, no bogeys, no eagles. But yeah, I mean, unreal. It was a 10:37.
Jeez.
Yeah. Final
Good
round.
for her.
Yeah. And I watched the first round, and then I watched a couple highlights today from I wasn't at home, so I was just kind of catching up this afternoon on YouTube for a little bit before I came over. And there's some people hanging in there for a little bit. They showed like Rebecca Cox was kind of in there for a little bit. Owen shot pretty well. Haley King shot well. She had 8 down today, finished in 6th. Holland tied for 4th. She shot a 7 down. But story of the weekend was Silva.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
And then Burr also set a course record with 15 down. Is that right? Or 16 down?
Back-to-back days.
Yeah.
Well, I should say he shot a 16 down yesterday, 1099 rated.
Jeez.
And that was with a bogey. So very close. And then today he shot 15 down.
Yep.
And just ran away from the field.
Yeah.
I mean, Coriolis was 31 down. He came in second. Carter Aarons shot a 13 down, and he shot himself up to third place. Barella finishing tied for third. He shot an 11 down, and he was on Jomez. I watched that round. It was him, Simon. I forgot who else was on that. But like when I was watching it, like none of them shot like incredible. Simon was shot even. Barella shot I think like a 3 or 4. First round. Let's just take a look real quick.
And Simon did some redesigning for that course. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Simon shot 4 down. It was Andrew Marweed 6 down. Andrew Marweed, like he played pretty well. Ricky shot a 4 down. That's who else was on the Jomez round. And then it was Anthony Barella. I forgot, but I don't. Why is he not coming up? Anyway, Simon was the. This is the first time I've known this, or heard of this, that he was the presenting sponsor. His own disc line.
Yeah, Simon line
went in, and he had a vlog with about it like a month ago or so, and went in with Kale. And they kind of like went over the course, talked about some redesigns here and there. Hole 10, which was originally like a 1,000-foot hole, that got shortened up quite a bit. I went up to like, a lot of people were throwing rollers on it. Okay. It was like it was like 391 feet, I believe, and like kind of uphill. And you had to throw either a really tough forehand with like kind of a low hanging ceiling. So a lot of people went around this tree with a roller. I was trying to think. There's another hole that ended up having 2 pin positions. There's one on the stump, and then I think next day it was off to the right, tucked into some trees with OB lining the right side.
Okay.
Trying to think of what other ones. There was it's like a dog leg right. I think it's hole 5 or 6. They cut out some trees and things, like tightened that up a little bit so you could at least see the pin, get to a landing location. Overall, I think it helped the course, but I was just going over scores, before. So Gannon ended up shooting 42 down, after, which is just insane.
11 strokes over the next, right?
Yep, over Coriolis.
Yeah.
So last year, this is before these changes that Simon made. Ricky shot a 34 down. And then the previous year, Ricky won the previous year in 2023, he shot a 37 down. Last year, Missy shot an 18 down. And in 2023, Katrina shot a 20 down. So FPO scores, even with the changes, haven't changed much. But we've seen the winner of the MPO, the score, there's quite a difference.
Yeah.
So some people are thinking that even though with the courses, with the changes, some of them being distance changes, that the course may have played a little easier.
Yeah, but if you look at the majority of the field, it finished pretty close to where the winners were finishing last time.
Right.
So I think Gannon Bird just had a hot weekend.
Well, yeah, I think so as well.
And he is, I said it on the last time we chatted, he is one of the best, if not the best player in the world right now. And I think he has one of the highest, if not the highest ceiling in the world. When he hits that ceiling, those are the things you see.
Right, yeah.
Running away from the field by 11 strokes, that's a hard field to run away from.
Oh, it is.
There were a lot of good players there. Yeah. Was there anybody notable even missing?
Paul
Macbeth, that's it. Yeah, I mean, but
and then
let's be real, he's not going to catch up right now. Like he's just not in that realm.
Yeah, and then we had Kyle Klein was somebody that had to DNF, but other than that, I don't know if there's too many other people.
Yeah. So
missing.
I mean, that was the full field, and he made him look like AMs.
Yeah. Right.
So
I mean, you didn't there was so let's get, not till you got down to 68th place. That was when or I should say 72nd. 72nd was even par. After that, for 100 and so places were above par.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a big field to record under par, I believe.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it could be true. Like, I've never played it, so I'm not sure, if it would play easier or not. I mean, I've known people that played it, but I've never played it myself, so
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to make that judgment.
But,
right. Yeah, but what it looks like, I mean, with the way Gannon played, I mean, if he plays it again next year that way, then maybe there is something to that.
Yeah, maybe
there is something to that.
I know. So I don't know. I guess it was if he could repeat the score or come close to it, or if other people's scores from the previous year start to come up, then maybe you could say,
right,
it's playing a little.
Well,
easy.
I mean, if you take 700 feet away from one hole, that's a couple strokes right there.
Sure.
I mean, but where do you add those strokes back with the redesigns? Maybe there's a balancing. I mean, maybe there is 2 strokes out on the card that people are gaining because of the 700 feet less of a hole.
Right.
But who knows? I don't know. It's hard because I can't throw that far anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So, all right. Well, let's talk about some drama on the course.
All right. So this weekend we had talk about rules. A little while ago, we had somebody get called for a courtesy violation.
So everybody's asking for it, and now it's starting to happen.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was I wasn't really paying that close of attention, but I was on social media, and Allie Smith, who was with Raven Klein on Joe Mez this weekend as well for FPO, and they did a pretty good job. Anyway, she had a rough day at the office, let's say. I think there's some personal things happening. Weather wasn't the greatest at this event. It was really rainy, kind of windy. There's some headwind, playing. And so basically, when she and her card got down to hole 5, previously on the round, somebody DNF'd on their card, so they were down to 3 players. And so Allie said that she was having a rough day. They teed off. She was way ahead of her card mates on her first throw. So they ended up, her card mates went forward to their throws. She kind of walked back because she was dealing with some things, walked back to the tee pad. They threw, and then what happened was one of the card mates called somebody for a foot fault. And so basically that card mate went and asked Allie, being back at the tee pad, if she had seen the foot fault. She did not. So she had got called for a courtesy violation. And then mosey down the field. She threw a shot. She thought it landed good, landed out of bounds. Something else happened. I forgot what. And so basically she decided to DNF from the tournament. So lo and behold, earlier over the weekend, it was brought up that Kona was the person that called the courtesy violation. She went through to just, talk about her side of the story on Allie Smith's Instagram post saying, okay, I didn't realize this was happening, that you were having a rough day, but rules are rules. You took yourself out. We were basically a 3-person card at this time. It's me and you. Somebody was shooting their shot. You weren't by the shot, paying attention. I had to call you.
Right.
So that's basically, Kona didn't want to. She felt like a villain, bad person, but rules are rules. And so basically after all this, not because of the courtesy warning, did Allie decide to DNF? She said that she felt like she physically threw the round because of whatever, couldn't move on. And so that was kind of some of the drama that happened on the course. Interesting, that these rules, that we had heard of previously about, obviously we always have to watch people's shots, that thing. And so it wasn't because she didn't see the shot. It was because she didn't see the football. So
Right.
that was
Yeah.
something that just came up. And I think people are kind of saying, obviously Kona did the right thing. Like she should have called the warning and everything, but you hate to feel like the bad guy doing it.
Right.
So.
Exactly. And I think that's what stops a lot of people now from calling, is feeling like the bad guy. And we don't know the situation. We don't know where the mentalities were. We don't know, what was being said or how it was being portrayed.
Right.
Or was it just that Allie just decided to walk off because she was way further ahead of everybody else and she just walked off? Now, whether she was dealing with something in her head or physically
That's
or
what she alluded
personally.
to. She said she was kind of dealing with something emotionally, and like she thought
Right.
she kind of had it in check, and that she just kind of needed to get away from the situation for a minute. Like she said that she could still look down the fairway and see people throwing, but taking yourself out of that situation on a 3-person card, you can't be too far away. Like
No.
you can kind of check yourself back. Like you could do that. A backup at a hole,
Right.
or you're getting the next hole recording things. You just kind of mentally go through, prepare yourself for whatever, but to not be present when throws are happening and being on the hole, you just can't take yourself out of that situation.
Right, exactly. And, hopefully everything is good with what she's dealing with.
Right.
So let's start with that. Now let's go into the critical portion of it. You do this for a living. This is your job. This is, there are requirements that you have to fulfill while you're on that course and you're clocked in, and that is one of those requirements. You walking away from a burning toast, like it doesn't help the situation. Darn well you have to watch that toast, So in that regard, like you got to be there watching those plays. And especially when right now that is the hot button topic within disc golf is these self-regulated violations. Everybody's talking about them. And then now we're having officials stepping in. So be there, do your job. Like whether you like it or not, this is your job. This is what you do. I mean, you are a private contractor,
Right?
and this is your job. So, it's just kind of part of it. And, if things happen, they definitely happen. But especially if you already had a DNF on the card, you were down to 3. That makes it even more so. And to step off the course at that point now and say, hey, I'm DNFing, now you've left this card in a lurch with 2.
Right.
So either they need to find an official to play with them.
And that's exactly what they did. Kona said they brought in an official to come with them, to help make calls.
Yep.
And I think it was Shasta Chris, she said.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's nice. Or they got to split the card up and
Right.
join the card in front or behind,
Yep.
And so that just messes with the whole dynamic of the game, mentally and emotionally, I'm sure. Because now Kona feels like a villain and Kona is like, I was going to make a joke, but I don't need to. Now Kona feels that, oh man, I caused this, and that's now why she's not playing. And I'm sure, there's all those things that roll in your head.
Well, yeah, right.
We've all had those moments where we have these discussions and arguments or feel bad moments in our head, and we play them over and over and over and over again, and we just can't get back into it, right? That's probably what happens, So it's just be present, be there, do your job. I think it's pretty simple,
Right.
And I think Kona did the right thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with calling somebody on a foot fault and you're like, right, Allie? And then she's like,
Yeah.
like 350 feet back.
I'm wondering too, did anybody know that she was back there? Did they notice her going back there? Like,
Yeah.
what the situation, how that ended up. And yeah, like you just said, hey, where's my second? And then you're like, oh, about 350 feet back that way.
Exactly. She's like, I'm here,
Definitely a football.
Yeah. Have you ever been walking with like a group of friends or something and you're just BSing? And so we used to do this in college a lot. When you just BSing with somebody and you notice that they're just really not paying attention. If they're up front, you just stop and you let them keep walking and talking for as long as they possibly can.
This happened today to me in Target. I was looking at like we were together in a group with my wife and my girls, and I just stopped to look at like some clothing, and all of a sudden they like started walking forward, and they're like looking back, like where's dad? Where's dad? And then some weird like cellular phone guy started talking to him about, hey, what do you pay for your phone bill? And they're like, oh, I don't. And she's like, I don't know. Go ask my husband. And I'm looking back, I'm like, great, you just put me in the position where I have to walk past this guy.
I know, exactly. That guy right there, that's my husband.
Yeah. And so it was funny because I'm like in the men's department, and I'd kind of like go back to the aisle and like look to see if they were still there. I'm like, I don't want to walk past these guys. So I was trying to plan a route around them so I didn't have to
This
talk.
is in Target, you said?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no.
I would even own a cell phone. Yeah.
What was I say? They're poaching with Cellcom, with the issues that Cellcom had.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody's like out there like, hey, you got Cellcom?
Yeah, right.
We'll never lose, So anyways. All right. Well, good luck, Allie. Yeah. You didn't do anything wrong, Kona. And I guess the game is the game now, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
that's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do.
Yep. So... and it is weird though that you said comments are disabled and all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't. I didn't look at anybody else's comments. Conan's was the first comment on top, and so what I had read was her side of the story. She wanted to get it out there. A lot. There was. I mean, I read a couple other comments. Like people, were like, "Oh, well, good for you for taking yourself out of that situation. Sorry you feel bad. Whatever was happening, there." And then, like I was reading them last night, and then all of a sudden they disabled them.
I'm just like taking herself out of that situation. Like, did she have conflict with one of the girls or something like that? Or
I don't really know, because it said she wasn't like mentally there, and then all of a sudden she felt like she physically couldn't go on. So I don't know if she was sick and felt like she had to compete. Like, it wasn't described that great. But like, I'm wondering if all of a sudden, because Kona said she was kind of like frustrated with the situation. So I don't know if that frustration was like kind of turned to anger about, whatever. And all of a sudden she's like, well, I was feeling bad, feeling worse. I, threw this shot, and I'm just like, felt like I can't go on. So, I mean, she didn't go out and say specifically what
the deal was.
What the deal was, right.
Okay.
But yeah, so then, disabled, comments got disabled, but you can still go read Kona's side of things on her social media, and then Allie's got her story on her Instagram where she's talking about it a little bit. So, you can decide for, whatever the story is.
And comments get disabled because haters are going to hate. I mean, it's just the way it is. Like, people are dicks. Like,
right.
Just plain and simple. Like, you got a keyboard and a monitor in front of you instead of talking to that person, or a phone. In front of you, instead of talking to that person face to face, which you would never say those things you would type. They're going to type that stuff. Yeah. And then they feel victorious. They put their phone down and be like, yeah. And then they go like kick a cat. I don't know. Like, that's all I can imagine that these people do when they sit online and like trash people. Right. And then, put their phone down, and maybe they like dig the lint out of their belly button or something. Like, it's just like, get over it, man. We deal with that a bit on one of our social medias that gets a lot of hits and a lot of follows and, a lot of traffic. Right. And we're constantly just like, hide that, like, for no reason. People are like, this is stupid. This is dumb. This is, ridiculous. This is worst thing I've ever seen. I'd never, and you're just like, come on, Yeah. So, out of like, I don't know, 2,000 to 3,000 comments, you're like hiding 150 of them, which isn't a lot comparatively speaking, but it's just like, why do you have to deal with that? Like, can't you just be like, I don't like that, and scroll on?
Yeah, right.
But it is what it is. I don't know. If I ever see anything from, I don't know, I'm trying to think of somebody. No, see, I don't even Nate Doss, I would never be like, I don't like your voice, Right. Like, why? It doesn't make sense. I'll just say it on a podcast, because that's much better. Can I say, did I say it last week?
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, yeah. On the last podcast? That I'm starting to like Ian's voice again.
You did, yeah.
I did say that.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. You're like, Ian's kind of growing on me or whatever.
Yeah. He's getting better as being just like the play-by-play. Okay. He's doing really good with it. Philo, on the other hand, And I wish Ian would stop saying Philo so much.
Oh,
Philo, did you see that? But outside that, it's pretty good. All right, what's next?
oh,
Last one.
All right. This is something that was interesting. This is the most disc golf rounds with U-disc last year.
By one person.
Oh, yeah. So let's get into this real quick. Can you guess? I have it written down. Maybe you can't. I don't know if you read my sheet. Can you guess how many rounds the number one person on U-disc had in the last year?
Rounds. So a round would consist of 18 or 9 holes
Yeah.
played on any course registered to U-disc.
Yep. Exactly. So we don't know. Yeah. So I guess that's right. Like, we don't know if it's 18 or 9, but
Or 3 or 7 or whatever it is.
right. It's just recorded rounds.
Okay.
On U-disc.
Then I'm going to say on an average of roughly 2 a day, 750 rounds.
Okay. The number one ranked guy on U-disc had 2,593 rounds
No way.
last way. An average of 7.1 rounds a day.
No
He was previously
way.
number 3 last year. He shot up to number 1 this year. The number 2 guy, this MFWAFW, first guy's name is Battle Goat.
Okay. That's
He's
a good
number 1.
I like it.
Number 2, 1,927 rounds in a year, good for 5.3 rounds a day. What are these dudes doing? What
Do
kind
you
of
have a
course-
job? Like,
How are you getting that many rounds in a day?
oh my goodness. It has to be like a home course or like a 3-hole course or something. It has to be.
I don't know. I mean, that's wild. Number 3, 1,508.
Okay.
Number 4, 1,402.
So let's go at a 9-hole. So the average 9-hole. Sorry, let me get to my calculator here. So
I mean,
the
these have
average
got to be like par 3 course, like
it has
small.
to be. Yeah. So the average 9-hole course, what would you say takes 20 minutes?
20 minutes? Oh, that's
I'm thinking like a little pitch and putt,
Oh,
like open
sure.
hole, 9-hole, maybe like average of 200 feet a hole.
yeah. I was trying to think of like Sister Bay. Sister Bay takes a little longer than that, but
Yeah. Well, it takes about 35 minutes, maybe.
yeah, right.
So you want to say 35 minutes to be
Yeah.
safe? So we'd have 35 minutes and then times how many rounds?
He had 7.
7. Well, no. How many rounds per?
Oh, 2,593.
Oh my goodness. All right, divided by 60. Divided by 24. Just guess how many days that is of playing out of the year.
How many days of playing?
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to say 175 or something like that.
It's 63 days.
Okay.
It's 1,513 hours played.
Oh, wow.
Just so you know, that's a full-time job. No, that's a part-time job. That's a part-time job, folks. Like, and that's averaging. Let's say it's a short 35-minute course. That's what I did at 35 minutes a round.
Okay.
It's 63 days of play. Like, if you played from sunup to sundown through the night, 24 hours a day, 63 days worth of playing.
Wow.
So let's say you break that down into. So how would you do that? If we did it into 8-hour segments, would that be divided by 8?
I think so.
I don't think that's right, but let's see.
Or do you multiply by? No, you don't multiply by 8, would you?
I don't remember.
No, because there's if you break it up in 8-hour segments, that's three 8-hour segments.
Well, yeah, it would be it would be times 8. No, it wouldn't be. Anyways, but let's say you break that down into 8-hour segments, I mean, how many days would that take? So if it was, anyways, so yeah, I mean, that's a lot of days. Like 24 hours is three times. So it'd be like 189 days.
Something like that.
If you were played 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
it's 189 days. Like I said, it's a part-time job. That is a part-time job. It is crazy. Or a seasonal full-time job.
Yeah, right.
That is nuts. How good for them. I kind of wish I had that type of time.
Yeah, same. Same. Oh, man.
Wow, that is impressive. Good for them. I might be the person with the absolute lowest rounds in UDisc last year. I don't know if I logged a round last year. No, I logged 3 rounds last year.
I think that's what I have around
I had like 3 or 6. I don't remember how many it was, but
what's funny is when I go out and play, I don't keep track of score on UDisc anymore.
I don't.
I should, but I don't. I'm like, I can keep score in my head.
I got this wild hair to like really start practicing again.
Okay.
And maybe it's a Brody Smith syndrome. Like I'm like, oh, I want to do it. And then you never do it again. And then you get a wild hair again and do it. But I wanted to just kind of go out, and with me being healthier and stronger and not having back issues, I wonder how my game would really go. And I've given my shoulder more than enough rest, and it is much stronger than it used to be. I just wonder how good I would be.
Okay.
Or how good I could get, like where my ceiling is now.
Yeah, right.
I don't think it's better than I ever was, but I bet you it'd be pretty good still.
Yeah.
I wonder. I have to go out and try it. I mean, I did win the only tournament I played in this year, so I would like to say
that's something. Yeah.
It is something. So, all right. Anything inspirational or thought-provoking to leave us with?
Inspirational or thought-provoking?
Thought-provoking or inspirational. This is something you should be prepared for because we've been doing this for how many years now?
Been. Thought-provoking. I just wish I had more time to play disc golf.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, so here's where this came from, though. So was it last night? I was watching Simon's vlog, and it was all about him, getting ready for the tournament, doing the practice round and everything. And so I went to go check on the girls, like going to bed and everything. And I come back, sit down, and Alyssa's like, I get why you watch this, right? Why you watch, like, for whatever reason. It's like, yeah, it's entertaining and everything. She's like, but it's not disc golf. I was like, what do you mean? Well, she's like, it's fun, like, kind of to watch the behind the scenes, life of disc golfers and everything, but it's not disc golf.
Right.
Like, you guys like to play and like to watch disc golf. Why are you sitting and watching this? And I was like, well, I don't know. It's something to watch, I'm like, and I was thinking about it, she's like, they get to go out and play disc golf pretty much almost any time they want. But for you, it's a luxury for you to be able to go take time out of your schedule to be able to go to play disc golf. And she's like, you see them going out and then coming back to the Airbnb or whatever their situation is. Cause like, she's like, they come back to the Airbnb and what do? They just kind of sit around and do stuff, right? Yeah. Like Simon was playing darts and like other guys were watching hockey, doing whatever. And she's like, it's kind of like college. Like you go out for a couple hours, like do something you want. And then like, you're just living this lifestyle that anybody who actually wants to play disc golf would kill for to have the time to be able to go play disc golf. Whereas you, on the other hand, don't have the time and you really want to go, but you can't. And I was like, okay, you're starting to make sense. And then she's like, well, because Simon was talking about cutting back on the after tournament recaps and everything. And that he was basically kind of doing that because views aren't as high for all these round recaps that they're doing at the tournaments and whatever. So they're kind of switching up their strategy with what they want to do. They're going to have one longer round recap and all this other stuff. And so I was just doing this deep dive on, well, not a deep dive, but, I went into his channel a little more and I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, he had a lot more views on videos where he was playing disc golf, the trick shot videos, the testing out Simon lines, like all these different things. And then even, when he switched over, it was more of the, his in the bag got a lot of views and stuff. But he was, I think the one recently at Flying Armadillo, he had 282,000 views on that video. He has 212,000 subscribers. So, obviously he's caught a lot more views with that.
Yeah.
But it's more views because perhaps it's because he's playing disc golf.
Right.
Right. Like, and I was like, yeah, you know what? You're kind of making some sense here. Like, I do want to watch more disc golf and play more disc golf. And, I do want to see like behind the scenes stuff, but it ultimately, like, yeah, that's what we should be watching. We're disc golfers. Why wouldn't we just want to watch disc golf and fun videos or whatever,
I think that's what's missing with a lot of disc golf. And I think it is the protectionist mentality of DGPT. Because if Simon could film his rounds and basically voice over his rounds with his recap, saying, this is what I was feeling, this is what I was thinking, this is why I did this. Man, I would love to watch those.
Right. If it was an actual round recap where he could go in with the footage from the rounds and be like, here's the whole breakdown on this, whatever, like that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, guest commentary on like Jomez or something, because like every once in a while, Yuli and Germ is like, oh, here's what I did on this hole, that thing. Like, bring somebody in that you actually have coverage with.
Yes.
And get their mentality of what they were doing on that hole with you. That would be phenomenal.
I agree. And who was it that used to do the round recaps that way? I swear there was a disc golfer that used to do that.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. But there's some format, like some of the stuff that I like to watch, because I think about the other channels that I watch. It's always them doing what they're professionals at or doing what they do best.
Yeah.
So I watch a concrete guy. I watch, I watch mountain bikers. And the ones that I like the least, and I watch this guy that crabs in Maine, like just random off the wall stuff. And the ones that I like the most and that I stay with their channels for the longest are the ones who just stick with what they do. Because that's why I'm interested in them. Like, I don't care about your family. I don't care about, like, what I care about is the thing you're doing. But what we're finding is that the new celebrity of YouTube, of social media stars, it's crazy how people get with them. Like, they want to know the intimate, deep, dark details of, and that's why I said you see a lot of YouTubers are actually starting to just vanish out of YouTube. Because I was thinking like Bunker, what's his name? Anyways, he just shut down the Bunker. I can't remember his name.
I know kind of who you're.
Demolition Ranch.
Okay.
He just shut down, and then the Wild Boys.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
He just shut down.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's all because they don't want the attention. Like, they're tired of walking down the street and people are like, I want an autograph. I want this. I want that, or like people reaching out to them in really obscene ways and stuff like that. And it's just like, man, just let's focus on doing the thing that you're famous for and you'll be so much better at it. But they still get those celebrity and the fan. And when you let people in their lives, like Simon, I'm sure, when he lets people into their lives that way, like in the backs and his kid and kids.
Yeah, kids.
Kids now.
Yeah.
And his wife. And like, I bet you it gets weird for him.
Sure.
Because all these people think, and disc golf is even more so because it's such a niche thing that everybody feels like they know everybody.
Right.
So when you get that, I mean, it gets really, really weird. It gets really weird. I mean, I'm trying to think, if there's any instances where that's happened to us, but I've never really like, I've just been like, oh, cool, man, thanks. So it was this time when I was at Ledgestone.
Yeah.
And we were playing Ledgestone. And I was just putting. I had a horrible round, and I was just jamming putts. Like, I was like, as much as I could, I just kind of like had to zone out because I missed so many putts in the round. So I was just really mad, and I've never done that before where I just sat and I had guys like yelling, Shane, what's going on? And I'm like, how do you even know me? You know, and it was just this weird moment. And I remember looking over at Jordan, I was like, do you know who that was or what? And he was like, no. And I was like, I don't recognize him either. You know, I had no clue who the person was, but somehow they knew me in some way, shape, or form. And it was really weird to me. Like, I was just like, we don't even do video. Like, how do you know me? You know? But it was during the time where I was on Instagram a lot. I was doing a lot of videos when we were opening the store and doing all that stuff. Yeah. So that might have been where it was from.
That could possibly be.
But it was just one of those weird, like, that's strange. But it was like 3 cards in a row where I knew somebody on the card, you know. But that one, I just didn't know who it was. And it was a strange feeling. And that is so minute compared to these guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, so it's this weird, I don't know. That was kind of a tangent, but kind of related, you know. But I think it brings a lot of credence to what your wife said, because I do the same thing, because I love to know, like Simon, he's such an entertaining personality that I watch almost everything he does.
Right.
I like when he plays more, but I watch everything he does. But you're right. Like, why am I just watching him hanging out at an Airbnb? You know?
Yeah. I mean, they did do some other things. So they went to this disc golf store, and like this guy had this crazy collection of discs and things.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And what else? You know, I don't remember everything in the video, but it was him like, oh, he went to a restaurant or something. You know, there's always some like little things, but how much do I want to know about somebody? Or, you know, if the cool stuff is the stuff that's related to disc golf outside of disc golf, but I don't know, because even Alyssa, she's like, well, she's like, I'm not his target audience. It's people who are disc golf, but I've watched enough of these videos to know that this isn't for me. I would prefer to watch just disc golf.
Right.
I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I totally get that. And then she was wondering who like this annoying guy with the voice was. I was like, oh, that's Joey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And she's like, well, who's that girl? I was like, well, I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure that's his girlfriend. Like, she's like, she's just like the token girl.
Yeah, exactly. Just there.
There. Right. Like, that was it. Like, she brought that up. She's like, as a female, that's kind of odd to me that this girl is in this video. She doesn't speak. She just doesn't do anything. She's just there. It's like, and nobody has an interaction with them.
She was framed in there and everything.
She was in it. Like, you see her a couple times, but like there's no interaction. So she's like, as a female, seeing another female in a house with a bunch of dudes, you're like, it's kind of off-putting.
Right, sure.
Because you have no idea who this person is. I was like, well, I haven't watched all the videos lately, so maybe this girl was introduced at some point in a video. But now that you said that, okay, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, but they even do that with some of the young disc golfers, because there are times where you'll see a guy laying in the background, and I'm like, who's that guy?
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But that doesn't diminish the feeling, you know, of that, because it is strange, because they're trying to do like
obviously Simon's
like a
the
real
focal
world or something, you know,
almost,
like
right.
Yeah.
But like even with the real world, you still were like, we still knew all the people from like, so like, because they were introduced from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So like, you know, when Simon first came up with the very first vlog style video that he was doing for like this tour, it was like, okay, well, Paul Cranes is staying with me. Cal Longquist is staying, like, and you see these people every once in a while, but then all of a sudden, or you know personalities, like you see Germ or, you know, like random disc golfers that you know from tour, but then all of a sudden you see these people that are lower down in the world, you know, disc golf world, and they're popping up, and you're like, well, this is random.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are these people?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, it's even when they do course, like if they're doing practice rounds, like Brody and Ezra used to do practice rounds, and then you'd have people randomly show up and play a hole and then leave, and you'd be like, who was that? Or, you know exactly who it was, but you can tell, like, if someone just started watching disc golf, like, who is that?
Yeah.
Like, you just start talking to him like you know him, like, because I remember the time, was it AB showed up when they were playing, I don't remember what course it was.
Ricky showed up in a practice round with Paul and AB when they were shooting at whatever. I mean,
they were doing the Luna battle.
They were doing the Luna battle, and like Ricky just like pops in. And most people know who Ricky Wysocki is, but then you're like, well, this is a really random like interaction with
Well, and they don't label them, they don't name them, they don't like do anything. They're just like, all right, well, peace out.
Yep, exactly.
That was it. You're like, so yeah, I don't know. It's disc golf. It's just what is known. That's, Simon is kind of an innovator when it comes to a lot of these things. So you're probably going to see a bunch more people do them, coming up. Like you're going to start seeing a lot more people do them. And I would say, who knows, but there's nobody else that talks like Simon and engages like Simon and does those type of things like Simon. So I don't think anyone else would be any more successful than Simon is with it.
Sure.
But I don't know. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't know. I'd rather watch him play. I mean, I'd rather watch him throw this ridiculous Anheuser shot over like 7 parking lots and 2 buses and then like 3 flaming schools and then like.
And I think that's what he said at the end of the video is like, we're going to do something where maybe in an off week I go to a local course and do something or do some kind of challenge or something out of the norm of what we've been doing to try to see how that goes for the channel.
Yeah. I think it'd be really cool if every week he'd go there and just pick one random person and just go play around with them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that'd be pretty sweet, too.
Right. And just talk to them about their story in disc golf. Like, you just pick a random... You're like, you want to play? Yeah. Okay, let's talk disc golf while we're playing.
Here's a mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool, too. All right. Well, I think that was enough for us.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I don't have anything else to leave on. I think that's a good one to leave on. Watch disc golf.
Watch disc golf.
Or watch for Simon. Playing disc golf.
Yeah.
All right. With all that being said, keep it subpar and deuces in the toilet.